What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How are you doing today? Today is the day after Memorial Day. I hope you had a great weekend and you survived. Um, Today is baking that cake, and today's quote. Today's I guess focus is going to be on that ingredients. Thank you for coming to the Beta Project. I'm Demarcus Tunstall. You can always find me at Humble and Focused on YouTube. There, you can always watch me there. And then today is May 23rd, and then obviously you see I don't have a quote up today. I just have choose this, not that. And so we're going to go right into this. Here we go. Hey, what's going on? How are you? Me and Mr. Einstein here. Hey, are here to tell you a little bit about baking that cake, because baking a cake is actually more important than you realize. Now, it's not about the cake itself. It's not about the actual aspect of the food that we're talking about. But there's a whole lot of things that go into baking a cake that we need to kind of sit and analyze. And so today's piece of this sitting and analyzing is going to be ingredients. So why ingredients? Why did I pick ingredients? Well, I picked ingredients because of one reason and one reason alone. Because everything starts with what you put into that cake or that pie. So if you go back to that picture I had, right? Let's go back to that picture real quick. If I choose the apples on the left, if I have a whole bunch of apples like the apples on the left, I'm going to have a whole different type of experience than the apples on the right. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you want to look at it, the apples on the left would be like positivity. If I put positive things into my brain consistently, I'm going to have a much healthier pie. But if I put the rotten apples in there and hope for something good, and if I'm putting the negativity, which is the rotten apples, the one that's not that, what you're going to get is you're going to get a pie that's rotten to the core. So what you put into things, ladies and gentlemen, it matters wholeheartedly. Why do I say that? Well, because the right ingredients can make a legend. The wrong ingredients can also make a legend, but not in the best way. You have to be willing to take the time to figure out what proper ingredients go into making the perfect pie for you. Does that make sense? Now, the reason I say that also is because, ladies and gentlemen, I hear stories all the time about people who want to change their life, but at the same time, they're not willing to get rid of the things that are making them rotten. The rotten apples, so to speak. Ooh, that's actually funny. Rotten apples. The rotten apples. People aren't willing to get rid of the rotten apples that are in life, right? So, if you're not willing to get rid of the rotten apples, then how can you expect to make a great pie that's healthy and good for you to eat? You cannot. And by rotten apples, I mean those friends that are not. They see friends will not. Friends are not going to. How can I say this? Friends are not going to make you do anything. But because of who they are, you will do certain things, if that makes any sense to you. So your friends are not going to be a situation where they're consistently coming after you and say, hey, you got to do this right now. Hopefully they're not. But being around those friends are going to inspire or reflect in your actions, and they're going to affect your choices in life. So if you want a different choice, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, I say this all the time, you're going to have to get rid of friends. And it's a lonely road out there for people who get rid of friends. But what you realize is when you get rid of the bad apples and those bad seeds, you're going to come up with a much better product in the end. It's not going to look like the cake you had from the beginning. If you put in salt instead of sugar, your cake tastes different. And so the thing about cooking and baking, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's not about the ingredients. It's about the ingredients you put in, but it's also about the proportion of the ingredients you put in. Too much hatred and too much fear is going to spoil the pie. Too much of this and too much of that is all about putting things in a perfect amount and proportion to one another. So you got to put in the right ingredients. You got to put in the right amount of ingredients. So the ingredients matter. What you put into your mind. I always talk about this because it's so important. I'm looking around. Oh, I do got one right here. Things. This is a great book if you haven't read it yet. Great book. The Four Agreements. Highly recommend you getting into that. But it's things like this that help to change your life. It's things like this. Going on YouTube and finding a video that really kind of speaks to your heart. This one's called Work Ethics. Whilst they party, I'm working. So a lot of you probably got down this weekend, probably went out, all partied up, been drinking, yeah. Guess what the people who wanted more from life were doing? We were out hustling. Now, it doesn't matter. I mean, you probably like, I worked hard, I deserve it. Yeah, you do. But you rest when you're finished. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't rest when it's the tortoise and the hare. A lot of us are getting up here and running this race or trying to run this race and they're trying to win, but they're willing to stop and take a nap, just like the tortoise and the hare. I'm a tortoise. I'm going to keep on trucking. While you're out partying, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep on trucking. Why? Because I'm building for something. The hare stopped and did not win the race because he stopped and he stayed there because he thought he had more time. Ladies and gentlemen, time is not guaranteed to anybody. But think about it. Partying is an ingredient. Your friends that you have are an ingredient. You put in the news in your head is an ingredient. You didn't think that? The news is made to scare people and to make people angry. That's the reason that the news is created. They say it's to inform, but they have to control the society somehow, right? So they put it in things that are going to make us react. They want us to react. They want us at odds with one another. There's a reason why I can't be with my neighbors. I can't, stay in, we're not locked in, so we're building something big, but instead me and my neighbors are, and this is like hypothetical, but me and my neighbors are butting heads, so we can never build and create. A home that's in turmoil will never create greatness. You get what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? So it matters. The ingredients you put in there. Don't let anything go in here. I like touching my brain. You know that. Don't let anything go in here, ladies and gentlemen, that's not going to help you to build that pie, that cake, that cupcake, that cookies, that pasta. That's not going to be good. You wouldn't put spoiled milk into into what do they call that, fettuccine sauce, would you? No, because it's not going to taste right. And you got to realize, ladies and gentlemen, all these things about these ingredients, the piece that we're talking about, they're all choices. These are choices you get to make. They're choices that you get to keep your friends. Like I have a friend right now. Every time I talk to her, I try to hang out with her. She says yes, or she doesn't. She says yes, and then it doesn't go through, or she just doesn't follow through. And I don't think she realizes this. But the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, I've decided I have to move forward from her. I don't waste time seeking her. Why? Because she's not a good ingredient. She's not a trustworthy ingredient. But instead, she's a flaky ingredient. I have friends who get drunk all the time. That's their business, their priority. But, see, think about it like this. Like you put too much salt, like I said, into a pie, it's not going to taste right. But if you take a little bit and just and then put the salt back in the cupboard, that's gonna be a great flavor for your pie. But if you take all the salt and you dump it in there, it's not going to go well. So you spend less time with people and things in the world that are not going to yield you your results that you want. If you want a sweet pie, you don't throw in rotten milk and salt. If you want something that's going to be shared with the world, how do you expect to eat something? Sorry, let me rephrase it. How do you expect someone else to eat something when you don't even like the flavor of your own pie? How do you expect someone else to eat something when you don't even like the flavor of your own cake? So you put in all these bad ingredients and you don't even like your life, but you expect other people to accept you in your life. You get what I'm saying? So be very aware of the ingredients you're putting into your pie. Be very aware while you're baking that cake. Be very, very aware of the stuff that you're putting into your cake. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in the end, the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, when you're putting salt in, salt looks like sugar. And so when you're putting the salt in and you're stirring it up, you can't tell at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. It isn't until you get it in the oven, you start baking it, and you pull it out and you taste what you have created. Now this is big, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go back to this. When you start tasting what you have created, that's when you find out that it's sour, that your milk wasn't good, that you put salt instead of sugar. But at the beginning, you can't tell. Let's say you can't smell the milk. It's just a little bit rotten. Your eggs are a little bit rotten. Your salt. All those little rotten ingredients you're putting in, they may just be on the cusp of rotten, but all of them together, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to ruin your cake. It's going to ruin it. So be very aware, because at the end is when you'll taste it. And the great thing is, ladies and gentlemen, that you could bake a cake and at the end of it decide it doesn't taste good. But guess what? At that point in time, you can do it again, but get fresher ingredients, get better ingredients, so that you're eating something like the left, not the right. Choose this good apple, not the bad apple. So you have an ability, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. You have an ability, ladies and gentlemen, to choose the ingredients you have. And once you get your pie, if you don't like the taste of it, you have to take stock in what you're putting into it. If you don't like the way your life is going, take stock in what ingredients made your life to this point. Everything that you are right now is like baking a cake. You put in your ingredients. If you don't like your life, or you think you can have a better life, you have to put in better ingredients. You got to start putting in stuff that's going to help you to improve. This is not sour milk. But the news is those negative friends who always complain about stuff is. So be very aware of the ingredients you're putting in your pie and your cake, ladies and gentlemen, because it matters. And at the end, when you taste your cake, and this is so important, it's the tasting of the cake, because you don't realize it because it's so small and minute at the beginning when you're cooking. But those ingredients matter. And so let me give you the last quote here. Let me slide over here. Hey, how you doing? Me and Albert are going to slide over here. We're going to slide over here. Boom. So everything in your life is a reflection of a choice you have made. If you want a different result, make different choices. Ladies and gentlemen, you're allergic to apple pie, but you keep putting apples in your pie. You're going to get an apple pie. The only way to make sure that you get a pie that you're not allergic to is going to be by putting a different ingredient in there. Now, what that could be, apples for you, let's say you're allergic to apple pie for real. Apples for you, or you don't like the taste of apple pie. Apples for you could be negative people. It could be drinking all the time. It could be a job you hate. It could be family members not acting right, whether they're close or far away. It could be wife or spouse not acting right, getting cheated on, whether it be making bad decisions. It could be anything, ladies and gentlemen. But until you decide to put a whole different set of a whole different set of ingredients onto your pie, then you'll never be able to go anywhere, and you will only be able to receive apple pie. Until you decide to put peaches in there, or blackberries, or blueberries in there, you're only going to get an apple pie. So you're sitting here eating apple pie, and you're allergic to it, and you hate it, but you haven't tried to put in any other fruit to make your pie different, or to make your cake different. You don't like yellow cake, you like chocolate cake, but yet you don't put any chocolate in your cake because you're not changing your ingredients. Ladies and gentlemen, it matters. Be very aware of what you put in there, because guess what? Just like it says, everything in your life is a reflection of a choice you have made. If you're making chocolate cake, you put chocolate in your cake. If you don't like chocolate cake, stop putting chocolate in your cake. It's so simple. It's so simple. That's all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you being here. Me and my boy Albert right here, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for being. I hope you had a great weekend, and I want you to make some different choices. And remember, the ingredients matter more than the process and the cake itself. The ingredients are what make the cake what it is. Funny thing is, last thing, you want a nice big chocolate cake, but you put in noodles and you put in sauce. You just made spaghetti. You didn't make what you wanted. Now, it might be something good, but it wasn't what you wanted. So just be very aware of what you're making and the ingredients you're putting in, and that you're not making something else altogether than what you actually wanted. You want something different? Make different choices. Thank you very much for being here, ladies and gentlemen. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bake that cake. And remember, better ingredients make a better pizza. Papa John's. Wait, no, that's wrong. But no, seriously, the ingredients matter. Choose better ingredients, and you will have a better cake.